Throughout history, there have been many execution methods and devices used to take the life of a condemned prisoner. Some of the more bloody methods include hanging, drawing and quartering. But famously in Britain, beheading was used by Tudor monarchs such as King Henry VIII to take the lives of two of his own wives. But this was seen as sometimes unreliable, as axemen and executioners could sometimes make a mess of the proceedings. It took skill in the time period and a very sharp axe to perform the execution in one swift blow. But one device that rose to prominence during the French Revolution was the guillotine, which was considered very quick and reliable to execute thousands of people. Even the French king and queen would suffer at the blade of the guillotine, but what isn't as well known is that in Scotland the device had existed for centuries before and was used. Join us today as we look at the Scottish Maiden. Remember to support our channel, please make sure to subscribe. The Scottish Maiden, or the Maiden, was first introduced as a method of execution in 1564 during the reign of Mary Queen of Scots and was used for around 150 years. It came long before the French Revolution, and it was a machine that would behead a condemned individual and was seen as a reliable way of doing this. But beheading machines were not new at all. During the medieval period, the Halifax Gibbet was used in England, and this was a frame with an axe head attached to it, that once it fell it would take the head clean off. Inside of Edinburgh, the Scottish capital, by 1563, the sword which was used for executions in the city had been worn out, and the Scots were paying to borrow other swords to carry out executions. Because of this, a maiden was created following an order from the provost and magistrates of Edinburgh, and there are accounts that survive as to its creation. It was made by three carpenters, Adam and Patrick Shang, and George Todd. The man to add the lead weight to the blade was Andrew Gotterson, and it was said that Patrick Shang was paid £2 for his work. He was considered a skilled carpenter and worker, and had previously made furniture for the half-brother of Mary Queen of Scots. The first execution to use the Edinburgh Maiden was Thomas Scott's on the 3rd of April 1565. Payment was given to move the components of the device from Blackfriars to the town cross, and then assembly took place there before the execution was performed. It was then taken back down, and the device could easily be dismantled and then moved to different places around the city. There were many executions using the Maiden that took place at the Mercat Cross in the city, at Castle Hill, and also Grassmarket in the shadow of Edinburgh Castle. It was even lent to different cities and towns, and in 1591 it was taken to Leith to take the head off William Gibson, and the town paid for the use of it. During the reign of King James VI, or James I of England, the Maiden was used to execute James Douglas, the 4th Earl of Morton and Regent, in 1581. It was said that the Maiden was based on the concept of the Halifax Gibbet, which was used in Yorkshire, but whilst it was being used, more than 150 people were executed on the device inside of Scotland. Following this, it was taken out of use, and some of the most senior people to meet an end on it include Archibald Campbell, the first Marquess of Argyll, and his son of the same name. Their executions took place at the Mercat Cross inside of Edinburgh, and the final execution using the Maiden took place on the 30th of June 1716, with John Hamilton's head being struck off by it. He was found guilty of murdering a pub owner during a brawl inside one of the city's drinking establishments. The Maiden after this was then stored, and today it can be seen in the National Museum of Scotland. It worked in a way similar to the guillotine, and did have an axe blade rather than a slanted blade. The person who was condemned would place their head on the crossbar, which was found 4 feet from the bottom. Then lead weights would be attached, which would allow the blade to fall at significant speed. The blade was then guided on its fall by the grooves cut in the inside edges of the frame. It was initially held in place by a peg, attached to a cord, and when the executioner removed the peg, the blade would fall, and then the head would be taken off. Interestingly, the executioner would use other methods, also at times to inflict the manner of death. If the condemned person was sentenced to death for stealing horses, then the cord could be attached to a horse, and when they were whipped, the horse would run away, and then the peg would be removed, and the axe blade would fall, making the horse the executioner. Beheading machines such as the Scottish Maiden was seen as a more efficient and more reliable method than using an executioner, his axe, and a block. The machine would have made the executions more eye-catching public spectacles, and thousands of people would flock to see the Maiden in action. It would sit upon a platform that would allow crowds from a large distance away to view the proceedings. As mentioned, despite being used from the 16th to the early 18th century, the Maiden took the lives of 150 people inside of Edinburgh and other Scottish cities and towns. It was considered part of the inspiration for the guillotine, a device which would strike the heads off thousands during the French Revolution, and which would become a symbol of the new order in France and the abolition of the monarchy. The Scottish Maiden would ensure that in one swift blow from a falling axe head, that the bloody job of executing a condemned individual was done with precision. Thanks for watching. To support our channel, please make sure to subscribe, and once again, thank you so much for watching.